Welcome to the TV Street Detective Channel. Here we update cases that shock the world. Perhaps Marion Jones and Lance Armstrong would forever be legends in the world of sports if it weren't for a man named Jeff Nowitzki, with the mission of unmasking the most professional and sophisticated doping stimulants in sports users, which even the world's leading anti-doping agencies could not detect. Nowitzki diligently carried out the investigation, persistently like the most proficient fisherman to catch the big fish. Let's explore this case with Street Detective TV. Bulldozer, Jeff Nowitzki. Exposing scandals is not to polish one's name, but only to restore the purity to the true meaning of sports. Who is Nowitzki, and what did he do when carrying out this long-term investigation? For comparison, if you search for the keyword Lance Armstrong on Google, within 0.27 seconds, 400 million results appear, while with the name Jeff Nowitzki, it takes 0.4 seconds to get 105,000 results. Another example, if you search for the biographies of these two characters on Wikipedia, Lance is a huge treasure while Jeff only has a few lines. Such a huge difference in reputation, and in fact, they would have no connection to each other if Lance had not turned himself into a great liar and been exposed by Nowitzki. The question is, who is Jeff Nowitzki? What is his role? And how was the investigation process? That became a major concern after Armstrong's case was brought to light. According to Wikipedia, Nowitzki is a special agent for the US Food and Drug Administration investigating drug use in professional sports. Prior to April 2008, he was a special agent for the Internal Revenue Service, where he also conducted investigations for more than 5 years. His investigations have dealt a fatal blow to big names in sports such as Marion Jones, Tim Montgomery, Victor Conti, Dana Stubblefield, Tammy Thomas, Melky Cabrera, Trevor Graham, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, Kirk Radomski, Bill Romanoxy, Justin Gatlin, Jose Canseco, Floyd Landis, Tyler Hamilton, the Bay Area Laboratory Cooperative, Balco, and of course, Armstrong. On May 20th, 2010, the New York Daily News reported that Nowitzki was involved in an investigation into Armstrong's use of performance-enhancing drugs and his teams competing in the prestigious Tour de France. Armstrong's former teammate Floyd Landis has cooperated with the investigation. In October 2007, Olympic champion Marion Jones pleaded guilty to making false statements to Nowitzki. He also successfully persuaded former New York Mets player Kirk Radomski to provide information in an investigation that later led to his conviction for distributing anabolic steroids to more than a dozen Major League Baseball players. Nowitzki was a major source of information for the Mitchell Report, an independent 2007 investigation into doping in Major League Baseball. In his book, The Secret Race, former cyclist Tyler Hamilton describes Nowitzki as a bulldozer who drove through the cycling world and uncovered details of the widespread use of performance-enhancing drugs. During the investigation, Nowitzki also faced criticism from the defendants themselves when they said he was biased. However, with many tests, including the participation of federal polygraph investigator Roger Clemens, Nowitzki proved to be an admirable and trustworthy witness for the government. He was often compared to the famous investigator of the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, Elliot Ness. A father of 3 daughters, Nowitzki is often described as a very strict but dedicated person, very professional in investigations, careful and thoughtful with work. But few people know that Nowitzki used to be active in sports and had a passion for cycling. Therefore, he also has a passion for bringing to light those who cheat to achieve results. Jeff represents millions of people who respect sports for the lessons that sports themselves teach them. Travis Tygart, CEO of the United States Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, once said, "As mentioned, in mid-2010, information about Nowitzki's participation in the investigation related to Armstrong appeared, and with great intelligence and the ability to work continuously, this 43-year-old agent brought to light the shocking case of cycling in particular and world sports in general. Starting from the tattoo shop owner in the stories told about Nowitzki's journey to bring Armstrong down to the abyss, there is an important beginning determined at a tattoo shop located in the foothills of eastern Los Angeles. From the feet to the neck are the colors of ink and tattoos. Kyle Leogrand, the shop owner, in fact, used to be a professional cyclist for several years. He met Armstrong only once, at the 2005 race in Ojai, California. I talked to him. I was with him shortly after the race," Leogrand said, "and I'm sure he was thinking, who is this stupid tattooed guy? But whether Armstrong remembers the man or not, fate has tied them together." 4 years ago, the United States Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, handed Leogrand a penalty for using the growth hormone known as EPO. It was from this incident that the investigation into Armstrong, which lasted for several years, was intensified, leading to today's result of a lifetime ban for the legendary liar, as well as stripping the titles this cyclist had won since 1998. "When I saw what happened to Armstrong, I was able to laugh a little bit," Leogrand, now 35 years old, still quite surprised to have played a key role in exposing Armstrong's behavior, leading to the collapse of an image. Travis Tygart, CEO of USADA, said that Leogrande's doping was the beginning of a series of actions by them, as well as federal investigators aimed at the use of stimulants in cycling. From there, the investigation path was directed to Armstrong and the US Postal Service team. Without Leogrand, who knows, the Armstrong investigation might never have happened, Tygart said. Leogrande said he first bought EPO in late 2006 from Joe Papp, a former cyclist who had been convicted of using performance-enhancing drugs. But without expert advice, Leogrand didn't know how much to take. The first few times he used it, he said, it made him feel like he had the flu. In 2007, Leogrand signed with the rock racing team, which included former Armstrong teammates. He began to dope more heavily, but Leogrande said his doping had been going on even before that. In a race in July 2006, in which he finished second, he was selected for a drug test. Worried that he would be caught, he confided in the team manager, Suzanne Saunier. Somehow, Leogrande's test came back negative, but then, apparently feeling remorseful and pressured, Sonia confessed to USADA. With her testimony and evidence from Papp, Leogrande was slapped with a 2-year suspension. Significantly, he became the first cyclist to be banned for analysing evidence, rather than being caught in a doping test. After being banned, Leogrande left his rented home, leaving a can of EPO in the refrigerator. When his landlady found it, he said, she called and asked what to do with it. He told her, "Do what you have to do." She called the FDA. A few weeks later, Jeff Nowitzki, an FDA agent, was standing at Leogrande's door. Nowitzki worked diligently, using the same methods he used to take down the Balco lab in 2003. He traveled extensively, collecting evidence and testimony to contribute to a 1000-page report that USADA obtained to take down Armstrong, the king of lies. However, not everything was smooth sailing until there were important turning points. The journey to turn a champion into a liar information about Armstrong being investigated had been around since 2010, however, with it taking so long before the 2012 Tour de France took place. Many people hope to solve the mystery of whether or not the seven-time champion was a liar in his legendary career. Jeff Nowitzki, who made his name in the investigative world after exposing the Balco lab drug scandal, was looking into the rumors from a low-level Los Angeles-based team called Rock Racing. But he quickly turned his attention to Armstrong when Landis started talking. That was when the search for evidence had dragged on, and even Nowitzki's findings failed to convince the federal court, which closed the Armstrong investigation without a verdict. The turning point came in May, when Floyd Landis, the 2006 champion who was stripped of his title for doping, admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs and blood transfusions during his career, and lied about them, claiming Armstrong had done the same. According to evidence published in the Wall Street Journal, Armstrong and team director Johan Broyniel recruited Landis into a systematic doping program with the US Postal Service, and Armstrong taught him how to administer blood transfusions to increase his red blood cell count. According to the reports, Nowitzki, with the backing of the US Attorney's Office in Los Angeles and his own US anti-doping agency, USADA Connections, contacted and sometimes summoned Armstrong's former and current teammates such as Landis, George Hincapie, Tyler Hamilton, and representatives of sponsors such as Trek and Nike. Greg Lamont, who had frequent contact with Armstrong, was asked to provide documents related to a past lawsuit in which Lamont fought Trek over the sale of its branded cycling products, with Trek claiming Lamont had tarnished its brand by alleging Armstrong's doping. Based on conversations with multiple sources, most of whom requested anonymity for fear of legal repercussions, Nowitzki has targeted outsiders, including people who could have testified in cases involving Armstrong's doping. The powers granted to him allow him to subpoena and question witnesses, and to charge anyone he believes is lying. The World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, with former head Dick Pound, had accused Armstrong of doping before, but after complaints from Armstrong's lawyers, the International Olympic Committee reprimanded Pound. However, both USADA and WADA still believe that Armstrong chose the wrong path to become rich and famous. Therefore, they still want Armstrong to be honest with himself, to admit to cheating, something he has always said never because he does not cheat. In this fight, Nowitzki has become an avenging angel for anti-doping agencies and turned himself into an enemy of Armstrong. Don Catlin, former director of the UCLA Olympic Analytical Laboratory, one of the most modern facilities for doping testing, and an admirer of Nowitzki, but he believes that this investigation was instigated by USADA. A lot of people don't like Lance Armstrong, he said, and they're convinced he did dope and they want to expose it. Tim Herman, Armstrong's attorney in Austin, said that USADA CEO Travis Tygart and the organization's attorney Richard Young have given Nowitzki several interviews. Another source confirmed the information. USADA should be happy to get the results of Jeff Nowitzki's work, said Kevin Ryan, a former attorney who worked with Nowitzki to expose the Balco scandal in 2003, adding that Nowitzki did the hardest part for USADA, and now it's all clear. Nowitzki caught the biggest, smartest fish that knew how to systematically and subtly deceive the cycling world. And from now on, those who intend to use doping will have to be wary of Nowitzki. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel to explore shocking true crime stories, unsolved mysteries, and secrets yet to be uncovered. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss any new videos. Your support means everything to us and helps us continue bringing exciting, high-quality content. Thank you for joining us on this journey.